I cannot get over how much I love this musical. Guys, my name is Peter Barber. I'm a professional opera singer and music producer, and I've just done my third video for Wicked. What is this feeling? And so fun and such a different vibe from the other two I've done, which was Defying Gravity and No One Mourns the Wicked. Guys, please sit back and enjoy my first time reaction and vocal and musical analysis of What Is This Feeling from Wicked, and I'll see you afterwards.
What is this feeling so sudden and new?
I felt the moment I laid eyes on you.
My pulse is rushing.
My head is reeling.
Yeah, well, my face is flushing. What is this feeling?
That's so catchy. I can't get over how outrageously catchy and wonderful the music that Stephen Schwartz wrote for this is. I'm just baffled. Something that's so fun about this, and actually this is the first video I'm watching from it. The previous two analyses I've done have been just the audio. So it's cool to see how the instrumental moments, some of the orchestra strikes, some of the kind of orchestral sound effects they're using line up with the movements that are happening. So like Ariana will turn over in bed and there will be like a chime. That really adds to it a lot. So this will be a new experience. But just so fun. I've talked about this before, but how musical theater can really shift on a dime. It can change tempi so quickly. It can change rhythm and meter. It can change keys super fast, which is, it happens in other genres, but musical theater really, just because there can be such a dynamic shift just to convey a certain emotion or a certain something about a character or the story. We get so many very rapid shifts in the fabric of what's happening musically.
What is this feeling so sudden and new?
I felt the moment I laid eyes on you.
My pulse is rushing.
My head is reeling.
Yeah, well, my face is flushing. What is this feeling?
So we've got this very speech-like singing happening right from the get-go. C major here. Both in the kind of middle to low middle chest range for probably both of these ladies here, for Ariana and Cynthia. Very much in that low speaking register. And of course, I've talked about this as well a lot. Musical theater is very text driven. So even when they're singing melodies, even big soaring melodies, there's going to be a very strong focus on the text. They're going to have very clear diction because getting those words across is absolutely critical. We'll see if these captions work out. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But we're in that very speech-like pattern already, but even when they get into this singing, I wager the speech is going to remain very clear. The diction is going to remain very clear. Pronunciation is another word you could use.
What is this feeling so sudden and new?
I felt the moment I laid eyes on you.
There's more atmosphere around Cynthia's voice. Now, I believe they recorded all of this on set on some level. Of course, audio edited afterwards, but live recordings is what I hear. I haven't gone deep into fact checking that, but I believe that's how they recorded it. So it's interesting because Cynthia's voice sounds like it has more atmosphere around it. You can hear more of a reverb tail. You can hear more space kind of echoing around after she sings. So I wonder if that's just where she is on set. Like maybe, I don't know. It's interesting, but pay attention to that. That's an interesting addition. I mean, it could be the rooms they're in are different, presumably. So that could add to the atmosphere of the sound.
What is this feeling so sudden and new?
So that's pretty dry. There's very little echo or anything happening around Ariana's voice. There's a tiny bit, but not much.
What is this feeling so sudden and new?
I felt the moment I laid eyes on you.
There's just a little more air and atmosphere around her voice. So I wonder if she's like further away from the microphones. There's more like room sound. I don't know. Very cool. Also, I like how if you're listening on headphones, you can hear Ariana's voice is very much in the left ear and Cynthia's voice is very much in the right ear. So that plays into what's called the stereoscopic image for my music nerds out there, how the sounds are laid out from left to right. This is a big thing in mix engineering and having a clean mix for your music, which is probably the hardest thing to do in all of music is good mixing. Just notice that Ariana in the left and Cynthia in the right.
So sudden and new.
I felt the moment I laid eyes on you.
My pulse is rushing.
My head is reeling.
Yeah, well, my face is flushing.
What is this feeling, fervent as a flame? Does it have a name? Yes, loathing.
It's so good. It's we get this lovely duet here, and again, they're both staying very comfortable in this middle chest range. We're not getting any big defying gravity belting yet. We're not getting any high vibrato head voice singing from Ariana like we do in No One Mourns the Wicked. Very comfortable speaking range chest voice for all of this so far.
Feeling fervent as a flame. Does it have a name?
So just get a nice open fifth there. Yeah, yeah. As going into the second part of this kind of build up to the chorus.
Loathing, unadulterated loathing
For your face.
Your
your
voice.
clothing. Let's just say
Sorry, I'm going to get rid of the captions.
loathing, unadulterated loathing
For your face.
Your voice.
your clothing. Let's just say I loathe it all. Every little trait, however small, makes my very flesh begin to crawl. With simple utter loathing, there's a strange exhilaration.
Oh, it just goes on. Sometimes that's another thing in musical theater is like it's hard to find a section or a moment to stop and go back and analyze because sometimes it just really goes from one section to the next. I wanted to flag this one vocal timbre thing where Ariana is clearly very much singing, what you might call in her mask or singing nasally. Those are different things, really, but some people get there one way, some people get there another way. This is obviously a voice acting thing. This is to get a certain vocal color that Ariana's going for. So she's got this forward nasal sound to her voice, and Cynthia's is much more kind of like a lower center of gravity to the sound. It's there's more meat to the sound. And there's just this one moment when it's just, I think, one line each where it becomes very clear.
Rated loathing.
For your face.
For your face. It's like very much right there, like high larynx, nasal. And then I think Cynthia's line that follows is very much not that.
Unadulterated loathing.
For your face.
Your voice.
Your clothes.
Your voice. It's much more. So Ariana's right there. Cynthia's right there. Like very different vocal timbres, and I'm obviously overdoing it to just show the example. But it seems like that is indicative of how they're approaching the roles vocally out of this context as well. Ariana leaning more towards that forward placement. Cynthia leaning more towards that heavier, chestier kind of resonance.
Clothing. Let's just say I loathe it all. Every little trait, however small, makes my very flesh begin to crawl. With simple utter loathing, there's a strange exhilaration in such total detestation. It's so pure, so strong. Though I do admit
It's like music material repeating closely on some level to what we've heard before, but we have all this added motion in the instrumentation and the percussion, which changes the game. It really drives the piece forward. So they're not doing exactly the same things musically or vocally, but similar. But even if they were doing the same things vocally as before, that added instrumentation, that added movement in the percussion is going to really move us along, move the plot along.
every little trait, however small, makes my very
pretty much always singing in unison, aren't they? They split into harmonies once in a while, but I have to go back a second and just see, because that's highly irregular, is to have, well, I don't know. I haven't seen all of Wicked, but in most vocal music I've encountered, having two people singing at the same time, a duet specifically, it's rare to have them often singing the same notes in the same octave. Usually there's some kind of harmony happening. Could be thirds, could be moving around between thirds and fifths or whatever, going stepwise. Could be just doing octaves, but usually it's thirds. But if it's not thirds, it's very rarely unison for a duet. So this is interesting.
Exhilaration in such total detestation.
Yeah.
It's so pure, so strong.
Then there's a harmony right at the end.
Though I do admit it came on fast. Still
Unison.
believe that it can last.
Unison.
And I will be loathing,
Unison.
loathing you my whole
Harmony. Wow.
life.
Dear Galinda, you are just too good. How do you stand it? I don't think I could. She's a terror, she's a tartar. We don't mean to show a bias, but Galinda, you're a martyr.
Well,
Oh my God. This is musical theater. I mean, this is like, from everything I've heard from Wicked, I mean, this really is absolutely top deck, as good as it gets. Everything about it. I continue to be blown away. This just such a dramatic and quick shift in everything about the music from this section. They finished with this nice 2-part harmony in this duet, which they had not been doing. It really had been a lot of unison. And then it goes into this next section where they're following Ariana. They're at the school or whatever. And that section, there's such a radical shift in the music.
Dear Galinda, you are just too good.
There's less orchestration aside from that digga digga dun we just heard right at the end. It's more percussive feeling. It's more choral based because we have the Wicked choir in here now. Such a shift from two voices and like more fleshed out orchestration.
Dear Galinda, you
And a key change.
good. How do you stand it? I don't think I could. She's a terror, she's a tartar. We don't mean to show a bias, but Galinda, you're a martyr.
Diction, people. So crisp and so clean. And you have to have that, especially in a chorus setting, whether it's an opera chorus or a musical theater chorus, especially musical theater chorus, just because of the genre itself, being more text driven. But listen to how crisp those consonants are, how precise that language is, and the timing of it too. They're right together. If you have a lot of syllables and a lot of people singing those syllables, tongue twister, it can be such a mess. It can be such an absolute mess, and this is so clean. And I just have such admiration for this musical theater chorus. From everything I've heard, No One More's the Wicked. I was commenting on it in that as well. Just such good pronunciation of the language.
Just too good. How do you stand it? I don't think I could.
In harmonies as well.
She's a tartar. We don't mean to show a bias, but Galinda, you're a martyr.
And then and it slows down into a new section. I love it.
She's a tartar. We don't mean to show a bias, but Galinda, you're a martyr.
These things I send to try on.
Oh, back to the No One Mourns the Wicked, kind of leaning a little bit more towards the classical side of things compared to how she's singing the majority of this role. Nice natural vibrato. So in the last video I made was about no one Mourns the Wicked, and overwhelmingly positive response. But of course, there's always going to be a handful of people who are really upset at me, like holding her to a professional operatic standard and sounding elitist when I talk about it. And guys, I just want to be clear. This channel is all about music education. I do not believe opera is the best style of singing at all. I have just as much, often more nowadays, admiration for non-operatic style singing versus operatic style singing. The only thing about opera is that it takes the most training to become proficient at. It takes the most training to become proficient on a professional level singing opera. That's it. That's my only claim. And so if I see an opportunity for education about vocal styles, I'm going to take that because I feel like it would be a waste and disingenuous not to. So when I hear Ariana singing opera or in an operatic style, I think it's a great educational opportunity to point out what she's doing and the difference between that and if it were sung by a pro opera singer, or for example, someone like Kristen Chenoweth, who did sing opera at that level, at a very high professional level. Ariana having only done this on a few months of training. So just hear me out. Whenever you see me say anything on this channel, it is never malicious towards the artist. I love Ariana. I love the artists I talk about on this channel. It is never that way, and I hope you guys can feel that. So just want to put that out there. This channel is educational, and if I see a good opportunity for education, I'm going to take it every time. Oh, there's that monster brass. The monster brass of Wicked came back. That right ear. We got probably a bass trombone blasting away with full expression.
Poor Galinda forced to reside with someone so disgusting-ified. We just want to tell you we're all on your side. We share your loathing.
So major chorus prominence in this song. And again, I don't know the music, so I don't know what I'm getting into when I listen to these songs. It was really, we had this like just straight up duet moment for the first minute, and for this like middle section of the song, which feels like a different song entirely, it's so chorus driven. And it's so cool. I just love the mercurial nature of musical theater and how shifty it is.
Once so disgusting-ified. We just want to tell you we're all on.
This is something they also do really well in this kind of movie where it's put together, where you see how there's this one singer walking closer to Cynthia, and then you start to hear one voice more present in the choir when that's happening. Watch this.
So disgusting-ified. We just want to tell you
It's like her. It's like her. Like we're hearing her voice come closer to the camera. And this is just brilliant, like sound designing and mixing. Again, the recent frame, when you could see the whole choir and no one was particularly close to the camera, it sounded like the choir was evenly spread out. And in this frame, we hear a voice from the choir closer to camera, presumably this person, while the rest of the choir is further away. These are little things that go to keep us in the reality of the movie that we're watching, or of whatever medium we're consuming. Like if we see this person right up close to the camera and it sounds like she's with the rest of the choir, not many people, but some people will be like, huh, that doesn't really make sense. So those kinds of details are going all along. I'm sure I've missed 100 of them already in this video, but that was a good teaching moment, a good educational moment.
someone so disgusting-ified. We just want to tell you we're all on your.
And then it goes away. It immediately, that voice goes away as soon as the frame changes to this frame here.
We just want to tell you we're all
Voice gone. Amazing.
we share your loathing.
What is this feeling so sudden and new? I felt the moment I laid eyes on you. My pulse is rushing, my head is reeling.
Okay.
Oh, what is this feeling?
Oh, gorgeous. So now we have the motif that we heard early on just between Cynthia and Ariana, but now we have with all of these added choir parts in the background, really playing off each other because they're not singing the same rhythms or notes or melodies as Ariana and Cynthia. They're singing their own separate thing that's kind of playing off what the two lead vocalists are doing.
We share your loathing.
What is this feeling so sudden and new? I felt the moment I laid eyes on you. My pulse is rushing, my head is reeling.
We loathe it all.
Oh, what is this feeling?
I like that a lot of orchestration cuts out and we get this big ba-do-ba-dip from the choir, and then we get this nice two-part harmony from Ariana and Cynthia, and then I think there's like a bass line that sounds like it's leading us back into the next section as the orchestra's going to come back in. There's so much happening all the time in this.
I felt the moment I laid eyes on you.
new groove, and a key change.
There's a strange exhilaration in such total detestation. It's so pure, so strong.
So wild, just like key change, groove change, melody change, harmony change, choir doing different stuff, and of course everything happening with the acting and with the costuming and with the sets. It is like hyper stimulating, but all so thoughtful. Like every detail, so thoughtful.
There's a strange exhilaration in such total detestation. It's so pure, so strong.
Oh, so good. Instead of, just to break it up like a big beautiful, what would be like a drum fill in a rock song. So nice.
It's so pure, so strong. It came on fast. Still, I do believe that it can last. And I will be loathing for forever. My whole life
Oh, it's so brilliant. And it's something that's really just interesting about this whole song, which I pointed out in the beginning, and I'm surprised. I was expecting it to go to a bigger place vocally for the two of them, just from what I've heard so far in the show. But it really stays in that comfortable middle chest range. Aside from that one moment from Ariana where she went up into her head voice for the more classical style singing, the rest of it's just been very comfortable, all speech-like, all very text-driven, to the point, I mean, even all the way up to the very end when the song is, quote unquote climaxing with the chorus and the most instrumentation. There's still no big like power belting coming from either Cynthia or Ariana. It's higher, right? It's higher than where we started, but it's not in any kind of extreme position. Yet still the song is so fun and so exciting. But you can't have every song like Defying Gravity. You've got to have, like, Defying Gravity's Defying Gravity. You have to have other songs that are, different and don't accomplish the same things. So no big power belting in this one.
my whole life
So a high D, that is actually quite high. I don't know if that's happening in a mix or full chest. Let me see if I can. It's tough to tell if everyone's singing at the same time.
my whole life
That probably is a belt. It sounds yelly and powerful enough to be a chest connected belt. But either of these singers, Ariana and Cynthia, can. That D5 is very high for some singers, but for these two, I don't think it's any issue. I think doesn't Cynthia belt up to like an F or a G or something absurd in Defying Gravity? So high D, no problem for these two. All right, guys, that's my third video for Wicked. If you guys, I'm still holding off on watching the movie so I can do these first-time viewings. So please leave your recommendations below. If you gain something, if you learn something from this video, please do consider joining my Patreon community. That's the best way to support me. And I will see you in the next Wicked video. Bye-bye.